Praying together can be a powerful experience for a small group because as members of the group begin to pray out loud for each other in a conversational manner week in and week out, then group members begin to take ownership of each other's needs. And it's super encouraging when I know that a group of people are praying personally and directly for me. And then out of that experience, then a great bond of shared life and common mission emerges between us. Jesus talked about that in Matthew chapter 18. If two of you agree here on earth concerning anything you ask, my Father in heaven will do it for you. But in spite of the benefits, this kind of prayer doesn't come easily or naturally for a lot of people. And so let me give you a few pointers about how you can come to the place in your group where you're experiencing the benefits of prayer together. First of all, you really have to understand people's hesitation. Most people find it hard to pray out loud in a group, at least at first. Now, some of them are just quiet or shy. For some, it's because they don't really trust your group yet with the level of vulnerability that prayer represents. Some people just don't know what to say. They might have heard other people in the past pray these long, eloquent, Bible-y sounding prayers, and they feel like they don't know how to pray like that. And so if they feel inadequate at prayer, they'll just stay silent rather than risk sounding foolish. And so if you really understand why people hesitate, then you can address that in the group. That leads us to our next pointer, and that is take some time to teach on prayer. You don't have to do a big formal lesson on prayer, but you can sprinkle in some prayer principles throughout the life of your group or in times when you pray. Maybe if you're just leading the whole group in prayer and nobody else is praying, you can still preface that with a few prayer principles. Simple things like the fact that prayer is just a conversation with God. And there's no special formula or some right method that makes prayer count. Or things like the fact that God is not impressed with how long or wordy our prayers are. He's just impressed with the condition of our heart. And reminding people that we don't pray to impress each other either. We don't pray to teach each other. We pray as an expression of our shared heart together before God. So helping to teach them some of basic principles that will help them to understand how to engage in prayer for themselves. But then the next thing you need to understand is no matter how much you teach them about prayer, you also as the leader really need to set the right example. As the group leader, when you lead in prayer, you should pray in a way that models what other people could see themselves doing. And so don't pray long-winded prayers. Keep your prayers short. Don't pray to make a point to people. Don't pray using church jargon or theological churchy language, but pray in common language. And pray in a way that illustrates for people just how simple and accessible prayer really can be for them. And if you're not sure, you can ask your co-leaders to give you feedback after you've prayed, and they can tell you how you're doing at setting the right kind of example. But then once you've done some teaching, you've been creating the example, then the next thing is then to give people some simple steps. You want to make it easy for members of the group to take a next step so that they can grow together. And here's an exercise that I've used in the past a number of times to help people feel more comfortable with praying out loud in a group. So first of all, you collect all the prayer requests. People can tell you what they want you to be praying for. And what you do then is you go around the circle in order so that the person on your right prays first and the person on their right, you just go around the circle and each person has an opportunity. That way they know when it's their turn to pray. Now, when their turn comes up, they can either pray or they can pass. And they can pass just by simply saying, pass. There's no pressure, there's no shame or disgrace with passing. When they're ready to pray, they'll pray. So it's make it easy for people to participate or not to participate. And then as it goes around the circle, when it comes to their turn, we tell people they can only pray prayers that are one sentence long, one sentence only. Now there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is that then people don't have to think of something elaborate to say. It makes it easier for people to think of what they want to say. And the other thing about that is it really levels the playing field. And so that most of the prayers sound about the same, whether it's a beginner or whether it's somebody who's been praying out loud for a long time. That gives the newcomers more confidence. Now, before you start, you tell people how many times you're going to go around the circle. 1 time or 2 times, so that they know how to prepare, but also so that when they know then when the prayer time is done. And when it is done, then you or the co-leader end the time of prayer in exactly the same way that everybody else prayed, by simply modeling that one short sentence. And then you just can keep doing this exercise week by week until people begin to get familiar, and then you start taking the training wheels off. You start expanding a little bit. So for example, you might say, we're going to go around the circle once, and then after that, people can just jump in randomly to pray whatever they want to. But we're still going to do 1-sentence prayers. Or you can say, from now on, we're going to let you do 2-sentence prayers. So people are learning to expand their comfort level with prayer as the group goes on through this exercise over time. So if you're purposeful and if you're patient, then before long you'll see your group really warming up to this, and you'll begin to experience all the benefits that come from praying together as a group.